Say hello to our new van dog. Jet, come here. What's this? This is Jet, our new dog. She's going to be joining us on some adventures up and coming. But yeah, it's been a while. Life's been busy. Moved house, new job. Missus got a new job. We got a new dog. So things have been a bit wild recently, hence why no videos. And poor old Trixie has just been sort of left standing for quite a while. But she's had a bit of maintenance, a bit of TLC over the past few weeks because we have a camping trip booked. So what I'm going to do today is hopefully going to be a quick and easy job just to sort of get back into things. And I'm going to be fitting a permanent 240 hookup point to the van. Now, our van came with this. This came with the cabinet that I bought. So I bought this cabinet. It was an absolute steal of a cabinet for 50 quid from Gumtree. And this thing, which has got 2 plug sockets, 2 USBs, and 2 switches, came with it. But it literally just goes to 3 bare wires on the other end, which I assume the previous owner had connected to a hookup point in some way. So the easiest way I've seen of doing this, I've seen a couple of other people do it, so it's not my idea, I wish it was, is to buy one of these things, not a dog, one of these. So this is what's classed as a mobile hookup kit, which is fully fused, has 3 plug sockets on it, and it has 2 USB chargers on it as well. So that would then give us 4 USBs and what will end up being 4 available plug sockets, all fused and all safe, hopefully. So I've got this. I'm going to mount this at the back of the cabinet here so that we can have sort of a kettle, or we've got a camping oven, sort of things like that plugged in around here for when we're on hookup, because we do mainly do hookup camping, to be honest. We're not wild campers, really. We've got 2 kids and a dog, so wild camping is not ideal for us. We do have a 12-volt system if needs be. If we need to go off-grid, we can, but it wouldn't last that long. So for us, hookup is where it's at. So I've got one of these. I'm going to mount it at the back. And then what I've got is one of these, which is a cable junction box, which on the inside looks like this. Now, all that should do, it should be very, very simple, is the bare cable that's coming from the plug socket that's already in the cabinet, I pop into there, pop the other end of that into some of this, which is 3-core cable, standard mains cable. I pop one of these on the end, which is also fused, so it gives us a little bit of extra safety, and then plug that into here. So that will then make plug sockets on the cabinet live. What I'm then going to do is run this very long cable, part of this very long cable, to the fake fog light cover. Nearly forgot what that was called then. Fake fog light cover that's on the left hand side of the back of the van. That way, snip that off and I can pop, where is it? One of these on. That then will give me an access point to leave that fully wired in all the time and not have to think about it. Then what I can do is I'll have this on one end. I can then put this on the other end of the rest of this cable, giving me the available extension lead for when we are packed up on a campsite and need to run the 240 from this to the hookup point on the campsite. Sounds fairly easy. I've seen people do it and it looks pretty easy. So I'm gonna do it now. Do it with me. Shouldn't be too long. And we'll see if it works. And Jet's gonna help. You gonna help? Help? Hindrance. You decide. Is a dog whilst doing van things a help or a hindrance? Let me know in the comments. Right. First of all, let's get this wired up with one of these and some of this and one of these. And I think then it should be fairly straightforward. Okay, you join me at the back of the van. Now, These are the bare cables of which I speak. So these come directly from the back of there. They are very simple 240 mains cabling, 3-core. We're going to put them into there, which is that. We're going to put some of that into that as well on the other side, and one of these on the end. Simple first step. I think so. Okay, that's one side done. So this is the side that's coming in from the plug sockets that are in the van. Now, they've all been wired in and I'm happy with these connections. So I'm going to pop the cover on to secure this here. And then that's one side done. And then I can focus on putting the plug socket on the other end. Now with this only going from, I lost it. Oh, there it is. I found it. With this only going from this junction box to around about just under where the frame is there. I'm not going to need much of this cable, but I aren't going to snip it off yet. So I am just going to peel this back, wire it into the junction box, so that's all safe and secure. And then I might sort of dry fit the mobile 240 unit so that I can see how much cable I actually need to cut off before putting the plug socket on. Measure twice, cut once, I think is the term. I have to measure once and I have to cut twice. So let's try and not do that this time. So let's get this into the junction box. Right, so that's the junction box done. So this is all matched up for the neutral, earth and live. I think, yeah, I'm confident with that. Everything matches, all the colours match. I don't do electrics that often, but this should be fairly simple. So I'm going to pop the other one of these on that side, so that looks really neat and nice. And then dry fit the mobile 240 hookup unit jobby. I've got a theory of how I'm going to mount this, so I'll show you in a second and let's see if it works. Okay, so location-wise, I'm thinking, so I took this is the back of the cabinet, by the way, back of the 50 quid cabinet. Bargain. I took this door off ages ago, purely because it gets in the way. You can't get as much in it with the door on because of that part of the van. It sort of sticks out that way. So I think I'm just going to remove the hinges and the latch and just be done with that. Save the door as a spare, just in case I ever need it. But I need this. I'm thinking the plug socket can go into this one for the plug socket that's on the cabinets. And we've got access to the USBs from the back. And I'm thinking it goes there, which to me seems perfect. Now this, you use this to hang it if you're in a tent or anything like that. This comes off quite easily, so we don't need that. I'll have to find that now. And this comes with these two fixings, which you would put on, I'm assuming you would put on a tent pole. So I'm going to try and reuse these, see how long the screws are, and then mark on there with some masking tape where the screw holes are. See if I can drill through this and feed the screws straight back in to these holes. That to me seems like the easiest way of fixing this in the place that I want it to fix without causing too much damage to anything. Couple of holes in there, fine. I'm not bothered about that. I've drilled way more holes in this van than I already should have, so a couple more are not gonna hurt. So I'm just gonna take these off and measure where, well, first of all, see how long the screws are, then measure where the screw holes go to hopefully mount that on there, which would be ideal if I can make this work. Let's see. Right, these screws are the ones that come with the Mobile 240 unit. They're about 3mm too short to be able to work. So I'm gonna pop into the screw box and see if I've got anything of the same thread that is a smidge longer, so that it can simply go through there and into there. So see what we've got. Okay, I'm one of those guys who saves all kinds of shit, and I'm glad I do, because like, if you know, like if you're building an IKEA unit, and as always you end up with like 16 spare screws, I keep those, which is brilliant, because I now have 2 perfectly sized and perfectly threaded screws that should sit through there, stick out a wee bit, and go straight into the back of that unit without damaging the unit, and with ease. So I'm gonna mark up the spots. I have an idea of how to do this. I think I've seen somebody do this before and I can't remember who, but it's essentially to put across the back of there masking tape, sticky side out around the unit, poke the holes through on the masking tape, and then stick that on with the unit, and then you should be able to just drill through where the masking tape holes are. Now that makes sense in my head. Let's see if it works. Okay. Right, this is my idea. So the holes are hither and hither. So I've popped a little bit of tape there, and a little bit of tape there. Drag that across there, poke the holes in, stick it to the cabinet, and then drill those holes. Questioning myself, but it does make sense, I think. Nearly dropped it, but I think that's worked. I'm going to drill it now and see. Holes drilled. See if it fits. Screw 1, screw 2, oils. It worked. Proud of myself. And it looks really neat as well. It's out of the way, you're not going to be able to see it from the front. Going to have access to it when the bed's out, for some extra USBs, charging phones and whatnot. That's going to be amazing. Put a kettle in there, pop it on there. Good cup of Yorkshire tea in the morning. Whew. Nice. And it's sturdy as well. Yeah, I'm chuffed with that. Lovely. Next bit. Plug socket on this bit. Okay, so now this is in place. I only want enough slack on this cable to pop this on and pop it in there. So I don't need too much spare cable hanging around, but I want enough so that it can sort of pop in and out if needs be. So I think I'm going to give myself this amount. Yeah, because then that can go there. I can tidy that up after anyway. So, let's get a plug socket on. Right, we are plug socketed up. So this is the amount of give I've got. Don't need a lot because it is literally going into there. So from the double plug socket with the USBs and the internal cabinet through the, what's that called? What would that be called? Cable block connector? That black thing that I connected the wires with. Anyway, one of them in between. Then this fuse plug socket. And now this, we're going to, not decided which one yet. Let's say this one. That will go into there, making that one live when this is hooked up to a 240 on a campsite. So the next part of this job, that's that side of it done now, which was extremely easy, and I'm glad I did it. Now to go and get this fed down and across to the false fog light thing in that bumper. I'll show you what I mean. So what I am going to do, I'm going to run the cable from here down there. I'm going to go under this, which I'm going to take off and find probably a million spiders. So I have some flora, a hoover, and some kitchen roll. Give that a clean while it's off. Pop the cable under there, come out there, in through the back, and then to this, which is the false, ow, 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 there we go, which is the false fog light. So we will have that, not the kitchen roll, this, in there, for any campsite, and we can pop that off and just plug straight into there. So let's get this off and get the cable fed nice and neatly all the way across there. Ew. Yeah, I just find it good practice that if you've ever got any bits off the van, just to clean it, because all sorts of shit gets caught in these little areas, all sorts of water gets caught in them. To be fair, under there it's pretty dry and there's no rust, so that's a good sign, because these buggers pick up rust like nobody's business. But I'm happy with that. Ew. Okay, route the cable now. Now this will be held in place by the footplate thingy cover. This. In fact, I'm going to secure that now before I start taking any cabling off. Then I know how much cable I actually need once it's secured down. So let's clean the cover and put that back on. This way the spiders live, by the way. As I'm going through and re-screwing this, I'm just making sure that the cable is well and truly out of the way and it's just held in by the back bit of the plastic. 'Cause last thing I want to do is drill through an electrical cable. Just going to put them in loosely to start with, and then I can make sure that everything's in the right position before I actually do the final tighten down. Right, I'm happy with that. The cable comes out nicely at this end. Everything, you can see through the hole, so you can see that you're not drilling through any of the cable. So I'm just going to secure that down fully now, because I'm happy with the positioning of it all. Awesome. Right, some cabling through there, through the fake fog light, and then see where I need to be chopping. Okay, so this is where the fake fog light goes. I might drill a hole in that and attach it to the cable with a cable tie. I'm thinking out loud. Do that in a bit when I've actually done what I'm supposed to do. So this cable needs to go up through where the hole is for said lights. There is a little bung in there. I'll take that out and then I'll put this through there. So I think I need, it's going to go up there, it's going to go down there, and I want this to be about here. So I'm going to cut this here. In fact, I'm going to cut it a little bit longer. You can always take more off, you can't put it back on. Somebody once told me that, and I can't remember who it was, but it's very true. So I'm going to cut this here, feed it through, and then leave that one on there, put the new one on there. All right, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Let's cut this. I feed this all the way through to come out there. There's actually this, which is a blanking bung of some kind, original VW part though, that sits just to the right there. Didn't know that was there until I popped it out by mistake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole in that and put it through there. I think it's to put to good use. Do that. So that's a hole drilled in there. That fits through there very nicely. So I'm going to get that fed through, bung back in, then we can start putting on the new connector. Ready? Okay. Now we've got this. Just going to go on there. And I've already unscrewed that. It's just 2 screws inside there that release the back part, the seal. Got a nice cable tidy on there. And then in here you have the live, the neutral, and ground. Sweet. It's simple. It's just the same 3 cables, just making sure that they're all in the right place. Whack them in there. Cable through there, so that's nice and safe. Screw that back on. And then we're done. Easy. Right, let's get this on. Right, that's on. So you get a live, earth and neutral, all with a nice connection on them. Maybe tighten that neutral up a smidgen. I've got a nice grip on it. Pop the cable in with that, pop the cover back on, and I should be able to show you when it's done. Ooh. I like to be honest on this sort of thing. Has anybody noticed why I fucked up? Because I hadn't until right now. This should be sat on there waiting to be screwed into place. And it's not. It's just there. So I'm going to take these off now and put that on and do it again. It's fine. It's fine. There we go. Right, got that on. Those are all connected. Nice strong connection on them. Screw that back on with the 2 screws in there. And then we are done. So I've done what I was saying earlier. So this is what I was thinking out loud about earlier. Tie wrapped that to there. Because I don't want to lose this. Because although it's not a real fog light, it is a genuine VW part and it is a reflector as well. So I've popped a little hole through there because it's false, so it's not going to damage anything. Drilled a little hole through there, popped a tie wrap around this and this, so that when we pop this away, it is in no problem. And then when we are hooked up, that will go into whatever extender I now create, and then that will hang there with it. So you got this. So you're not going to lose your reflector. I'm happy with that. I'm really, really happy with how it's all wired in. It looks sweet in the corner and it's out of the way, so you can't see it from inside the van, but now that means that we've got a really easy hookup. As soon as we get onto a campsite, we'll pop that in and we're good to go. Happy. Hidden. So you can't see it neither, so you've not got one of those flaps on the side of your van, didn't have to drill into the side of the van. Understand it doesn't charge our battery, so I get that. But if needs be, I can upgrade that later on. at the minute, this is all I want, and this is what I need, and this is what we need to make use of our camper van. Hidden away, pop it out, just like that. And here is your hookup point. I'm super chuffed with that. Well done, me. So we now have this, which is going to be live because it plugs in to this, which is sat here. And I'm really happy with the placement of that. I will tidy up these wires. That's just literally there just for now. It goes, the wires get hidden underneath that, and then they go out there. And then that's where we would have our hookup point. That was a seriously easy job. We're lucky that with this cabinet, those plug sockets are already there, but even if you didn't have those plug sockets, you can pick those sort of plug sockets up for like 5-6 quid from Amazon, eBay, B&Q, Wix, whatever, and wire them into just a box if you wanted to, or just put them on one of your ply panels. It's very, very simple to do. That was really, really easy. Now, the mobile mains unit cost me about 35 quid. It was on sale from Blacks at the time. I went for that one because it had the 3 sockets and the 2 USBs. Always in a van, helpful to have a load more spare USBs. Cable from eBay, about 5 quid. These junction boxes were from Amazon, and I got 2 of them for $2.99. These black plug sockets were $4.99, but I got 4 of them, and the baby screwdriver, which is dead handy actually. So yeah, I'm glad that I got the ones with that one. The only other tools that I needed was a flathead screwdriver, some wire cutters and some wire strippers, a Stanley knife, and if you decide to drill it to or attach it rather, to your cabinet or to anywhere in your van, a drill. That's just a cheap combi thing, and it works fine for that sort of stuff. My masking tape for the method that I use, which works perfectly, and I was well chuffed with that. But that means that we now can pull up at any campsite, whack the extension, which I am going to make out of the remaining wire from this because there is loads of it. So I literally have, and these connectors, which were also about 6 quid from Amazon. So I'm going to whack that on the other end of there, and then we've got a massive extension cable for wherever we hook up. But yeah, that's us now ready for 240 hookups on any campsite with 1, 2, 3, 4. So we will have 4 spare plug sockets and an extra 4 USB chargers for all of our devices and whatever else we need to pop in there. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if I've done anything wrong, let me know. If there's a different way that you've done it, let me know. If you've enjoyed it and you fancy doing it yourself, let me know. I'll watch your video if you watch mine. But yeah, comment below, hit the like button, subscribe for any future videos, because I'm hopefully going to be doing this on a bit more of a regular basis. Not as regular as I used to, because life is busy, but hopefully going to be putting some more bits up as the summer continues and as we get more trips booked and more things planned for the van. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.